Okay, hi guys. I'd like to work on and show you guys a lot of different front rack stretches or moves that you can do prepping to get a much better front rack position. Generally with the front rack, there's actually a lot of things that can factor into whether or not you're going to have a stable position up here. First one is obviously your wrist flexibility and whether or not you can get your wrists up there. Second is your triceps and your lats. So if this is really tight here, you're also going to have a lot of issues being able to get those elbows up straight. Another thing too that a lot of people forget is actually the front pec of your shoulder right here. So if this is really tight and pulling your shoulders in, then obviously that's going to prevent you from being able to externally rotate that shoulder to get it open, because that's kind of pulling your shoulder in. So we'll kind of touch base on a lot of those different areas, a few different stretches other than the standard PVC pipe stretch or other ones that you technically see. So the first one that I want to address is how to get the front part of the shoulder just a little bit more opened up. And for this one, you want a band. You can wrap it around the pull-up cage or anything that's just a little bit more elevated. So this is called the banded bully, and you're going to place the band right in that crevice of your shoulder and walk it out to get just a little bit of tension on the band. You're going to take that hand and you're going to reach behind your back to your left hip. So if this is my right arm, I'm reaching to my left hip, and I'm going to take the other hand and basically just kind of grab that hand there and use that to kind of pull the right hand, the right arm backwards, and I'm basically going to turn my neck and look away in that other direction. And this is a really good, I am taking the rack with me today, all right. So lots of tension on the band, and what you can do actually to help really get that opened up a little bit more is something called a contract and relax, where basically what you do is you squeeze, you contract that muscle or kind of squeeze it, like flex it for 5 seconds really tightly, 3, 4, 5, and then you just kind of let it open up and relax for a count of 10, and then you can turn your neck, pull that arm back with your left hand, and kind of get into that opening just a little bit more. And then contract one more time for 5 seconds. So squeeze everything, flex it, tight, 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and then relax and kind of let it open up, and then turn your neck over to the side. Pull your hand back with your left hand there, and get that opened up. So going for about, that's feeling like really nice already. Feeling a lot of good opening right in the front of that shoulder. So again, working about a minute on each side. So strapping that band right in the crevice of the shoulder, taking the hand and placing it behind where your hip is, grabbing it with the opposite hand, stepping forward so that there's tension on the band. And then basically as you pull that shoulder away, you're going to turn and look and get a really good opening. You want to also move this elbow backwards as well to get that opening in the shoulder. And then you can contract, squeeze everything, flex for about 5 seconds, and then relax, let it loose, let it open up, and then you want to twist your head as you pull that arm and that elbow back to get that front part of the shoulder opened up. So this is really good for opening the front part of the shoulder, and hopefully that's going to help you to be able to set your shoulders back a little bit better for that front rack position. Second thing I want to go over to is working a little bit more on triceps and this area in this region. So you'll need a box or a bench as well as a PVC pipe, and we're going to do something called the prayer stretch. So we did a version of this on the desk at school not too long ago, but this is the actual version of it. So you're going to start by taking a wide grip with the PVC pipe, palms facing each other, and your elbows basically touching if you can. And then you're going to push your head and your chest through as you try to open those hands up as far down as you can, and then release. And do that about 10 times. So you're going to push your head and your chest through, try to flatten that back of the shoulders. You're going to open the hands, try to keep your elbows together. You don't want them to spread apart. You want to try to drive those elbows together as you press your arms down, and then right back up. So doing this about 10 times. It's going to really help to open up the shoulders, definitely the outside of the shoulders for that front rack position. Really good for the upper back. So get to that stretch. One more thing I want to show you guys too is the working a little bit more on wrist mobility. So you can also take your band, and we're going to come down to the ground here. Let me actually see if I can get a little bit better of a view. All right. So here we are on the ground. Take that band, wrap it low on the rack, and working a little bit of wrist mobility. So basically we're gonna put the band right in that wrist there, come out and get a little bit of of tension on the band, and then just like we were talking about with wrist mobility from like video 4 or 5 or so, so you're going to shift your weight forward. Try to keep the pads of your fingers and the heel of your hand on the ground as flat as possible as you shift your weight forward and back. So you want to do this about 20 times. You want to hold that wrist down in place so you can use the other hand to kind of lock that wrist down in place and work on getting that wrist forward and back. And the band is like a little nice distraction that helps to kind of keep the wrist back, getting that hinge and working on that hinge just a little bit more. So do that about 20 times, 20 to 25 times per each hand to work a little bit more wrist mobility. Another wrist thing I want to show you guys actually is using the wall. I'll show you guys on the floor a version first, and I'll show you a modified version on the wall. So you're going to come into what's called a planche push-up position. So that's where your hands, instead of facing fingers forward, you're going to face your fingers back towards you, coming up into a push-up. And then basically you want to try to lower down, and this is really good for the wrist. Just try to get your chest to the top of your triceps if you can't get all the way down to the ground, and then press it right back up. And then try to do that about 10 times. If you need to, you can drop to your knees, and then drop your chest even lower, and then right back up. You want to keep your heels of your hand right on the ground as best as possible. You don't want them to pull up off the ground as you're coming down into these planche push-ups. But this is really good also for getting the wrists opened up. So again, you're basically doing a push-up with your fingers facing. Now the version on the wall, let's come over here to the wall. Let's do this. Okay, so here we are on the wall, and same thing. So you're going to be facing the wall here. Hands are going to be facing down, so instead of up, you're going to place your fingers down. And then you're basically going to tuck your elbows in close to you and get your chest towards the wall, and still driving the bottom heel of your hand on the wall, and then coming right back up. So these are really good, again, for opening up the wrists and the forearms, straightening out. So you want to tuck the elbows in, lead forward with the chest. Also a really good chest and back opener as well, but you're really going to get a lot of good stretch in the wrist with this movement. Last thing we're going to go over is just simply using a rumble roller. So coming back down. Here we are. Here's my favorite roller. I love this roller. The regular foam rollers just don't do anything for me anymore. So working a little bit of the lats. So what we're targeting is, usually for the front rack, we need to work just a little bit on our lats, which also, if they're too tight, can kind of pull our arms down, elbows down. Not great of a rack position. So I love using the rumble roller for this. So we're going to start by having the palm facing the ceiling. So we're, again, externally rotating, palm faces the ceiling. We're going to start with that foam roller right in the crook of the armpit right there. And basically what I'm going to do is just kind of sink my weight in and rotate to my back, and then right back around. So I'm just doing some revolving, some rotating right around the upper part of my lat, right where it attaches to my armpit. And then after I do that about 3 or 4 times, I'm going to lower it a couple inches and keep on doing that again. Remember to keep that palm facing upwards as you're doing this rolling. And you're going to work all the way down till you get to your lower part of your side, just kind of like, right across from your belly button. So this is really good for opening up those lats. So I hope you guys will get a chance to try some of these front rack prep moves. If you come a few minutes before class, grab the rumble roller, grab bands, grab a PVC pipe and a bench or a box, and or some wall space, and get that front rack opened up just a little bit more. So again, front rack, wrists, triceps, lats, front of shoulder, a whole lot of different areas that affect your ability to be able to hold a barbell up here.